A day of mourning has been declared in the capital for August 21st in memory of the victims of today's shelling. The massive missile attack claimed the lives of 12 Kyiv residents. 7 people died in the Solomiansky district and 33 were injured, 14 of whom have been hospitalized, the mayor of the capital reported. The capital and the surrounding region were the main targets of enemy missiles tonight. The attack began before midnight. Kyiv and Brovary were shelled by 24 ballistic missiles and zircons. The consequences were felt in the Solomiansky, Sviatoshinsky, and Darnitsky districts. A children's hospital was damaged, and people were trapped in one of the shelters, but they were successfully rescued. 2 hours later, dozens of cruise missiles from enemy Tu-bombers were added to the ballistic missiles, which were also mainly headed for the capital and the metropolitan area. Monitoring channels reported a massive shelling of Borispil. At the same time, Kyiv was attacked by jet-powered Shaheds. The air raid alert in Kyiv lasted for almost 9 hours. And in the capital's Solomiansky district, where, according to the mayor, there are already 7 dead, TSN correspondent Alina Lisova is working. Alina, we see you again. Tell us what has changed since the previous report. What new details are known to you? Are the rescue operations still ongoing?
Right here at this location in the Solomiansky district of the capital. However, behind me you can see the most damaged building. It is a 9-story residential building. However, it is not the only one that suffered damage here. There are actually damaged objects on 2 parallel streets here. This includes the parking lot where cars were burning, as well as other buildings that sustained damage from the blast wave. But it is in this 9-story building behind me that there are fatalities. It is currently known that 2 people whose bodies were found here have died. People say that around midnight they heard a very loud explosion, and while windows, balcony frames, all of that started flying out, a fire also started on the upper floors, and the 9th and 8th floors of this building were partially destroyed. Let's take a listen.
There was a fire that unfortunately spread downwards from the 9th floor all the way to the 7th floor.
And he couldn't get out. The firefighters said
the ceiling collapsed and the door was blocked, so he couldn't get out.
He stayed inside, couldn't get out, and then the firefighter said that by the time they broke down the wall, he had suffocated. They broke down the wall and only then he had suffocated.
I just jumped up when the window flew at me. Glass, this, bricks, and so on. There are no windows, the doors are wide open. In general, everything was damaged by this very thing. We are on the 9th floor, this is the 2nd opening. In the apartment next door, everything was completely on fire. We just jumped out, put on whatever we had on us. There was so much dust, you couldn't see anything in front of your eyes. We jumped out and thankfully the stairwell was open.
As the neighbor said, one of the deceased is a young man, approximately 20-something years old. And so he really ended up trapped in his apartment because a fire started on the 7th, 8th, and 9th floors. And, well, he lived on the 7th, so he couldn't get out of his apartment. And when the rescuers finally reached him, he had unfortunately suffocated from the carbon monoxide smoke. And there is also another victim here, but who it is currently unknown. Also, besides the destruction in this building, there is a burnt-out parking lot with cars. A kindergarten and a school located nearby were also damaged, as well as a children's hospital. Let's hear from the SES.
We managed to rescue 9 people from this building. There is partial destruction of the 9th and 8th floors. The fire was on the 7th, 8th, and 9th floors. As of now, the fire has been extinguished. Emergency rescue operations are underway. They are continuing. According to our information, we do not have precise information, so to speak, on whether there are people under the rubble, and we will be able to be certain only when we have completely finished the clearing.
Indeed, rescuers are currently continuing to work at the scene. Special equipment is also operating here. That is various robotic systems that are removing all the construction debris, trying to reach the apartments that suffered the most damage. People are not yet being allowed back into their homes. Those who were able to go up took the most essential things, documents and warm clothes. But others are currently waiting here under the building. And there are also tents here from the National Police and other services where one can apply for the appropriate assistance. So that is the situation here on the scene for now. Ira?
Thank you, Alina. Thank you for your work, for the detailed information. We ask you to take cover in a shelter now if possible, as an air raid alert is sounding in Kyiv. We are aware of the danger from the Shahed drones moving toward the capital, as well as the cruise missiles. So please stay in safe places.
Russian missiles today were aimed mostly at Kyiv and the region. By the way, the air attack is still ongoing. This is already the 8th hour since the air raid alert was announced in the capital. During this time in the capital, we already have such sad statistics. 11 dead, over 30 wounded, 7 dead in the Solomiansky district. That is where the greatest destruction is. The upper floors of a 9-story residential building have been destroyed. There was a fire. At other addresses, windows in residential buildings were blown out and a hospital was damaged. Also, people were trapped in 2 residential buildings and a school shelter. And now we will talk about the consequences of this attack for the Solomiansky district with our guest, Serhiy Movenko, head of the Solomiansky District State Administration. Welcome, Mr. Serhiy.
Mr. Serhiy, greetings to you as well. Our correspondent went live near a 9-story building and reported that people were trapped in their apartments there. Do you have information from all the locations that were hit? Please tell us, summarize the consequences of the attack in the Solomiansky district.
Today is another bad morning for the Solomiansky district. As a result of the massive combined missile strike, unfortunately, we are recording damage to apartment buildings, educational institutions, businesses, and non-residential buildings. Unfortunately, as of now, there are injured people and 7 already confirmed dead. A headquarters for providing primary assistance to residents of the affected houses and apartments has been set up at school number 59, located near the epicenter of the explosion. Residents can go there to receive all necessary assistance to apply for the state e-recovery program and to process payments from the local Kyiv city program, Kyiv of the Future. All relevant services are working on site, the state emergency service, police, and ambulance. Work is underway to clear the rubble. For now, the work is ongoing. All additional information will be provided later.
Mr. Serhiy, we have heard rapidly tragic statistics just in the last hour. Initially, there were 6 dead in Kyiv. Now, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko is reporting 11. Does this mean, or does it mean that the search operations directly in the Solomiansky district are already coming to an end? Or perhaps you can tell us what the status of these search operations is as of now.
Currently, the state emergency service is working on unblocking the affected apartments, but at the moment we are recording 7 dead. Let's hope that the number will not increase. When the work of the state emergency service on unblocking is completed, we will provide this information later.
Back in the night, information was received that people might be trapped in the shelters. Were they able to get them out of the shelters? What more details are known about this incident?
At the moment, there is no longer any information about people trapped in the shelters. I also want to note that, in accordance with the Prime Minister's directive and the relevant administrative documents of the city of Kyiv, all shelters in the Solomiansky district and the city of Kyiv are operating and open around the clock, and people have the opportunity to use these shelters. And for now, while the air raid alert is ongoing, I ask everyone to stay in shelters and safe places.
Mr. Serhiy, one short question, and we would also ask for a short answer from you. There were reports overnight that as a result of the attack, there were power outages in the Sviatoshinsky and Solomiansky districts. What was that? And how is the electricity situation now?
We are currently recording power outages in the Solomiansky district. DTK specialists and our KYIV energy networks are currently working.
Thank you. And Serhiy Movenko, head of the Solomiansky District State Administration, was with us live from the scene. Thank you.
We heard that in the Solomiansky district, there are already 7 dead, and there are also injured. The number may increase because the SES continues to work at the impact sites. The Solomiansky district, it suffered perhaps the most during this attack on the capital. It is still ongoing.